Hello, and welcome to The Writer's Journey. Yeah, I did it right this time. Today, we are going on a journey of epic one-liners. The good, the bad, the ugly. And we have with us the one, the only, Ellen the Cutter Campbell. And we're gonna jump right in and do the thing, because we've got stuff to do. Okay, so I'm going to add this little dooley dad to my screen.
Oh, nice.
Try and make it bigger.
So if you're listening on the audio, on the YouTube side, we have the scripts that we'll be reading. We have the original, and then we have Ellen's edited version of each of these one-liners. Welcome.
All right. So, and right before I get started, Rick Partler, Barter today, Corey Gilliam, and that's currently who I'm seeing in this little chat thing, so I forgot to pop out the chat in the regular one. Anyway, thank you for joining us. And here we go. Number uno from Mr. Slater. Thank you, Mr. Slater. But as the story was told to me, there was a centurion of light infantry, a sergeant of scouts, a corporal from the 2nd Maniple, and a discussion about a naked Iberian.
Yeah, I liked this. I liked it a lot. It was a little bit wordy, a little tiny bit clumsy, but the only changes that I would make to this is I would probably scratch out. I would just take out a discussion about an Iberian. I wouldn't take out the Iberian, just the discussion part. So that the joke is, as the story was told to me, there was a centurion of light infantry, a sergeant of sorry, I can't read this. Sorry, a sergeant of scouts, a corporal from the 2nd Maniple, and a naked Iberian.
Nice.
So that's like that. I thought that was really well done. I was impressed. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it's great with the joke to have the punchline right at the end and keep the wording short so it really punches.
Yeah. You could even take out the sergeant or the corporal to tighten it up, but I didn't want to do that because I didn't know how critical they were to the story.
That's true. Yeah, tiny little things like this, just to tighten up, especially longer sentences, can really up the impact. All right, next one up. Fresh hate is fuel. Short and sweet.
Yes, no, my notes say good, clean, to the point, and intriguing. I mean, it doesn't better than this for a single line of prose. It definitely pulls the reader somewhere. So this one was really well done as well.
All right, and that was also from Slater.
Yes, that was
next one. Third one from Slater. He's on a roll.
Thanks.
Jealousy is but one road to the preordained.
Now, see, at first I was not crazy about this, and I wrote, but how is jealousy a road to the preordained? I want to like it, but I don't. It's nonsensical. I get poetic license. Has produced amazing prose, but no. And then I came back. It's a couple hours later, and I'm liking this a lot more. So it's definitely something that sticks with you. It's a thinker, and sometimes I don't slow down enough to see that the first time, I guess. But so I came around to liking that very much.
For me, if it's coming at the end of a paragraph where the paragraph just kind of explained it, and then that's the one line at the end that sums it all up, I like it.
It would be a great as well.
Oh, you cut out just then. It would be a great what?
Opening?
An opening line. The opening line of a book. I mean, jealousy is a road to the preordained. I mean, it would. Because it's like, ooh, what does that mean? Let's find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say I agree with all y'all. I personally love throwing this kind of stuff every now and then into my writing, because as Ellen, 4 years ago, told me that I purple prose way too much. So I had to get that under control and really find the nuance in it. So I love purposefully throwing in just those sweet little moments of make you think and wonder. All right.
Yeah.
Now, Leo Vicaro is here, and he asked, what brought you to like that sentence, Ellen? And if anyone does have any questions as we come along, we'll pop them up on the screen and address them as they pop up. So go for it.
That I had to keep thinking about it, that it made me keep thinking about it, that it compelled me to keep thinking about it. So obviously it's a good sentence because it buried itself in my brain and made me think about it. You know, I would have wanted to continue reading.
Right.
So that's what did it for me.
It's an earworm that kept niggling at you.
And
So
I don't know why it slapped me in the face and I didn't like it at first. I can't tell you why my gut reaction was this is stupid, but I'm wrong. It made me think about it. It brought me around.
and this is also on a sideline that I just thought of. These kinds of things, like people are like, oh, log lines and like catchy things for my blurbs. Like this kind of stuff, sometimes you can toss in there as like a reader reads it and be like, really? Tell me more. T.S. Huddle.
Robert Heinlein wrote one once that has stuck with me my entire life, and it's from Starship Troopers, and it was Dizzy bought it on the way up. Which the simplicity and the emotion packed into those just like 4 or 5 words, 6 words, you know, it grabs you, it pulls you, and you're in.
Did Dizzy purchase something or die?
Dizzy died after a harrowing rescue.
Oh, that's depressing.
Well, on that note, the next one is from Anonymous. Is this an anonymous one?
It is, yes. This one.
Okay. This one is from Anonymous. Barely resisting the urge to stick out her tongue, she settled for staring daggers at his back as he walked up to the podium while the last echoing strains of the anthem died.
Oh, I recognize this one.
I know where this is from, which is good because it's strong and I remember it. I know exactly
I didn't realize I submitted anything.
Yeah, you know, I said submitted work was fair game. So
okay, all right, got it.
Specify I previously submitted to KSM.
That works.
Okay. No, Lauren, he did a great job on this. The only thing that it needed was to have everything after podium struck.
Why?
Because it's too much.
Okay.
Drags the sentence into the cumbersome, long, and tiresome. Are we there yet? Is it over? It goes from being amusing. It could be light. It could be like a comic interlude. It could be, you know, just a smooth, just a lighter spot in a heavier book, or it could be setting the tone for a lighter book all the way across. It's amusing. Barely resisting the urge to stick out her tongue, she settled for staring daggers at his back as he walked up to the podium. You could even take out as he walked up to the podium.
Yeah.
But you can relate to it. It's relatable. You can feel it. It's interesting. You don't have to struggle to understand it. You don't have to go, wait, what does that mean? And it's good.
Yeah.
It drove you to the next line.
Now, Richard Fox, he actually highlighted that exact portion of the sentence, and he said he loved it.
Portion by stroke.
Yeah.
So, like,
I don't remember what the words were that he, like, I don't want to quote him, but that was the part that he liked the best. And I think because of setting tone for the scene. But when you say strike it, and I see that sentence again, I do think it reads much more clear, and it focuses on the action, and you get into the character's head more in a different way.
And I also want to add, I do love this ending. I do also love this part of the sentence. So like I do agree, making that its own, and I would try to make this its own next sentence, or put it somewhere else in the scene, in the paragraph right before, because I know the scene where the characters start talking again, just because it by itself is really strong. So I'd still want to try and keep it.
Yeah, it just doesn't belong in that sentence.
Yeah, less is more.
Richard, you're wrong. Sorry.
Alrighty. And moving on from Mr. Barnett. The brief echoes of Marion's voice died off into silence, like a spell being lifted from their minds.
Okay, what did I say? If they were, how did they die off?
The echoes of Marion's voice died off.
But they were brief. Okay.
It's true.
It's a little overdone. Oh, no, that's for the next one. See, guys, I don't have enough light to see my notes, and I don't have my computer, so I can't pull up my notes.
She's working old school.
It's not bad. It's a little. It's pretty good. He actually submitted 2 sentences, and I took the liberty of striking everything but one every time because the brief was send me 1 sentence. But yeah, the brief echoes of Marion's voice died off. Okay.
To say died.
Died. Yeah, off into silence. That's what I did. And I was out of ink on my printer, so my notes in blue didn't print. So I'm winging it. I'm very unprepared, you guys.
No,
but also say just cut the brief, like the echoes. Like, yeah. Do they necessarily have to be brief?
I think that's what I said.
Oh, yes! +1 to me.
Of Marion's voice died, like a spell being lifted from their minds.
Like a spell being lifted.
Yeah. The echoes of Marion's voice died off into silence.
The echoes of Marion's voice died like a spell being lifted from their minds. I mean, you died off into silence is grammatically kind of awkward. So, anyway.
So off the cuff of trying to read slightly unprinted notes, the echoes of Marion's voice died, like a spell being lifted from their minds.
It's a better picture. It's not always about adding that extra nuance. It's about making the sentence clear and resonate the way you want it to resonate. And sometimes you load them down with too much stuff and they don't really say anything except clunk. Clunk, 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 clunk.
Well, a Facebook user makes a good point too. Died off into silence strikes me as redundant. It's kind of saying the same thing twice. That's a good point.
That's a good point.
And I bet when you see my notes, that's what it says. No, but yes. Yes.
All right. Moving on into another Barnett. She slung on her pack and grasped her brother's arm before once again turning and walking away. And I'm not reading the rest because that's like 2 more sentences. Do you want me to read the rest?
Yes, please.
Okay. From her brother, her family, her home, and her gods.
Okay. I struck the last sentence because, as I said, the brief was 1 sentence. And if you had put a comma in there, that would have been better because they both together. And from her brother, her family, her home, and her gods is pretty good. She slung her pack and grasped her brother's arm before once again turning and walking away. I would strike the once again. And it's cumbersome. It's a little clumsy. There's kind of too much. But I know what you're trying. I know the effect that you're trying to get, and you're close, Luke. You're really, really close to pulling this together. So instead of she slinging on her pack, she slung her pack over her shoulder. And I don't understand why she's grasping her brother's arm, but I don't want to strike that because I don't know what I've missed. So
context before and after, yeah.
Right.
We could probably tighten that up a little bit. And with the correct use of punctuation, that would have been a great sentence.
So
that's what you pay me for.
So slinging on her pack, she grasped her brother's arm and walked away.
Yeah. Just strike once again. I mean, I'll even turning and walking away in this particular case, although most of the time I would strike turning. She slung on her pack and grasped her brother's arm before turning and walking away. Running and walking away from her brother, her family, her home, and her gods.
Yeah, I'd almost like that. Grasped her brother's arm before walking away from her brother, her family, her home, and her gods.
Yeah. And then I would strike her brother from her brother, her family, her home, and her gods.
Yeah, she's not really, well, unless there's 2 brothers. Because one she's taken with her.
I know
she's
the
grasping
scene that
him.
this is coming from, I think. I think I do. So it's just one brother.
Yeah.
He is family.
The author says the turning is unnecessary. I have learned since then.
Well, no, and sometimes turning is necessary, but I think Kalene had it right. She slung on her pack and grasped her brother's arm before walking away from her family, her home, and her gods. Yeah, that's redundant. Is that what that said?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody being a smarty pants?
No, it's the author.
Oh.
He's agreeing. He's agreeing with you.
Confessing he's learned.
Well, good. I'm glad, Luke.
We're all learning. Me too. Me too. Me too.
All right. And second to last one from Barnett. However, there is one crew member whose profile immediately grabbed my attention. Period. She could either be a great asset or the bane of my existence.
Hey, and I struck she could either be a great asset or the bane of my existence. And that sentence is great, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that sentence, but I struck it because we know why. Okay, for this one, I would strike however, and I would change grabbed to caught. And the way I wrote it by hand was there was one crew member, and crew member is a compound word, by the way. There was one crew member whose profile caught my attention. Okay, there's just too much. There's too many pieces. You're overwriting things. However, there was one crew member whose profile immediately grabbed my attention. Grabbed isn't a great verb right there. I mean, it's okay, but it's not the best fit because clearly this is not an informal situation. So caught his attention, got his attention would be better. And you've got the wrong tense there. There was one crew member instead of there is one crew member.
You can even take out there was and just do one crew member's profile. Caught my attention.
Yes.
Boom.
See? Nice and clean. And then see, if you get nice, tight, clean little sentences like that, you can do wordy ones when you need them. Because you got to mix it up.
And this is why when you guys open up your freshly edited documents and you're like, look at all that red. Think about that process of how that sentence probably was just like cut down a little bit. It was synthesized to its core, to where it really, is getting the picture. It's saying what it needs to say without all the extra hubbub. Extra hubbub works sometimes. I'm not going to say it because I do extra hubbub. I love the bub of the hub. But sometimes, you just need that. You need the short and sweet to.
Boom.
Everything is overwritten, and then the stuff that's important doesn't matter.
The author says it's present tense because it's a log entry.
Log entries wouldn't be in present tense. I don't know why a log entry would be in present tense.
All right. Last one from Barnett. The darkness disintegrated in an instant, shrinking to nothing, disappearing deep underground with a fading scream and a single whispering voice at the edge of her hearing.
Okay. Now, in over describing this event, you've given conflicting testimony. Did it disintegrate into nothing, or disappear underground, or you gave 3? Did it disintegrate in an instant, shrink to nothing, or disappear underground? It can't.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You got to be careful when you're over, because when your tendency is to describe too much, to paint a vivid picture, sometimes you paint the same picture in multiple ways, which isn't good. As far as the rest of it, and how does it disappear with a fading scream if it's disintegrated? And is it a fading scream or a single whispering voice? Luke, you need to rewrite this one. Go all the way back to the beginning and just rewrite it.
Yeah, if you pick one of those images, then it's powerful enough to carry the reader's imagination. But adding on multiple ones confuses them. It goes to show how powerful verbs are. Disintegrated, shrinking, disappearing, fading, whispering. Any one of those could carry the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So which one did you like the best?
Yeah, I like disintegrated, but if the fading scream is important, then it can't disintegrate. Well, I guess a fading scream and a disintegration could work, but I don't know about the single whispering voice. And I would cut out a single, I would say a whispering voice at the edge of her hearing.
Oh, that's what I did. +1 to me. Yay! So I just went off the cuff for one. The darkness disappeared deep underground with a fading whispering voice at the edge of her hearing.
That's nice. Yeah.
Because there really is and then in a comment, I would probably put, you could also do, maybe one with the shrinking. You could also do maybe one with the disintegrated, just depending on what image you as the author are really, really wanting to go for.
Yeah.
But off the cuff, that's the one I would initially do
Mhm.
in the track as a toi.
The author says, yeah, that's much better. Way to go, Kalene and Ellen.
Yes.
Teamwork.
That's effing teamwork. All right, Mr. Castle. Holds down delete button. All right. From Mr. Castle. I've read all the balderdash about forgiving being divine, and how it ain't my job to seek vengeance, but it's a whole lot easier to forgive others than it is to forgive yourself.
Okay.
Than to forgive yourself. Sorry.
You're terrible, Kalene.
I know. It's right there. All I have to do is read it.
I like this one. I like it a lot. Okay. This is, it's not the best flowing sentence in the whole world, but I can tell that that it's a style choice, not clumsy writing. And what he's doing here is he's deepening the character without describing him. So from that sentence, you can just take from that sentence that this character is kind of a rough character. He could be a soldier. He could be a highwayman. He could be somebody who's seen a lot of life, but on the bottom half, on the underside, somebody that would be good in a fight. You know, he could be a guy. But you get all that from that sentence without him describing it at all, without him describing the character at all. You take these things away.
Yeah, instantaneously. And I will say, this is the first time I'm reading any of these sentences because I'm great at preparation. As soon as I got through, I've read all the Balderdash, I like instantly felt like, ooh, this is a gruff and rumbled character.
Yeah.
So I tried to put that into the narrated of it. So that it's this sort of thing is a really good example in my eyes of, you know, it's like show don't tell.
See,
Like right here, just through the character's own verbiage spillage, you're getting that well-rounded picture of an instantaneous who is this person. And
I'd change one word.
which
Do you know
one?
which one? Forgiving. I'd change it to forgiveness. Make that a noun.
But
But I mean, if it's character voice, would he say forgiveness? That's the tough part.
I'd have to read more.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Like, yeah. I would have to be in it before and after to.
Yeah.
But
grammatically,
I won't.
Stylistically, I think Kalene has got a point. I actually contacted the author of this to make sure that I was right before I said all this stuff, and he said, "Yeah, the guy's a cowboy." So I nailed it.
Mic drop. All right, moving on to Lynn Nodima or Nodima. Hopefully, one of those has to be right. He winced and twitched as snow melt dripped into the collar of his jacket, tracing an icy finger down his spine.
I love that. It's poetic.
It's nice. It's evocative. I would tiny bit. Instead of winced and twitched, I would say flinched. And I would delete. I would delete of his jacket and into the collar. I would say he flinched as the snow melt dripped into his collar, tracing an icy finger down his spine. Instead of he winced and twitched, I would say flinched. That was my big one. Yeah, I like that. That's great. You're right there. You know exactly what's going on. You can feel what's going on yourself. It's very, it brings the reader in and helps the reader identify with the character.
I like the flinched or winced, twitched, dripped. That repeated I sound really gets you the feeling of the cold when the snow melt drips its icy finger down his spine. Oh, love that.
That part isn't tracing an icy finger down his spine. Them's just good words right there.
So. Those are good words.
Alrighty. We have another one from Anonymous. Now the incessant phantom dripping wormed its way into his ear canal, poking at the beginnings of a migraine.
Okay, this is excellent description, Anonymous. I would make teeny tiny changes. I would delete canal. And I would make it the beginning of a migraine, not the beginnings of a migraine. And you could strike now. The incessant phantom dripping wormed its way into his ear, poking at the beginning of a migraine.
Yeah,
and
for
anybody I Anybody recognize this sentence or identify this sentence or familiar with this sentence in any way, Kalene?
I was gonna say, did I write this?
That's you.
Okay, this is old. I'm reading it and I'm like, this sounds like me.
Yeah, I couldn't pick on Lauren and not pick on you.
Which story was this one from? I can't even remember.
I don't know. I'd have to pull up my
The incessant phantom dripping wormed its way. Oh, I know which one. It was from Farthest Reach. I think it was from Farthest Reach.
Nice.
From I believe that's what. Yeah, he's working on pipes. Yes. Okay. No. Sorry, I remember it now.
Brings you right there. Again, you're right there with the character. You feel what he's feeling. The description is really, really good. Very tight.
Aww,
Ellen, the equal opportunity poker.
Poke.
Yep. And this right here, so where she's suggesting, because it's my sentence, so I'm gonna fight for it. I would actually reject that only because I know what came before it, and I liked the flow of now the.
Oh, you can have the now, but what about? I thought you were rejecting canal.
Oh, really? No.
Okay. No. And beginnings is wrong. It's just grammatically wrong. It should be the beginning of, not the beginning.
And I'm gonna pat myself in the back because this was like 3 years ago. Yeah. I wrote this, so I'm like, yay! Okay. Anyway, moving on from my. Anyway, okay, another one from Lynn. Nodema. Hopefully that's the right way.
Yeah.
A cold wind whipped through the parking lot, filling the air with the scent of pine, snow, gasoline, exhaust, and too many humans.
This is excellent. Again, this is very, very. I mean, you can feel and you can identify and the smells. I mean, this is great. This could be an end of the world apocalyptic story, or this could be a story of somebody going to watch skiing at the Olympics. I mean, you just don't know, but you know that it's cold and you know that it stinks and I like this. I would, however, just change filling the air to bringing with it. Okay. Instead of filling the sense of, and put an S after scent. Filling the air with the sense of, I would say, bringing with it the sense of pine. And I don't know why. That's probably too much, but that's what I would do.
I'm intrigued by the word choice humans and not people. Humans makes me think like maybe the speaker is a vampire or like something not human that would be recognizing the species human as opposed to other people like himself.
I'm guessing probably urban fantasy, but I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm interested in this story. Just from that one word.
All right. Our next one is from Aaron Holloway. Don't let the stories and vids fool you, kid. Or fool you, friend. I'm going to start over. I don't know why I said kid. Don't let the stories and vids fool you, friend. You can kill one.
Okay. My notes say, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. I'm dying to know who can't be killed. I wouldn't change that one iota.
Except throwing a comma.
Well, I did throw in a comma.
After,
But it didn't show up because I was out of ink. No, very, very good. It's another case of, you can tell that this is kind of a rougher character who has seen a lot of life and has stories to tell, clearly. But it's intriguing. It kind of just pulls you in. Wait, what? Kill what? Tell me more.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it. That's where I came out.
Perfection! Except for that comma before when you're talking to someone. Hey, comma Lauren.
Yes.
Well, I try to make this about punctuation. And
I mean, you gotta know. I mean, the less extra commas that we have to put in front of names helps.
Always not, Sometimes,
all right.
Sometimes I get to be the cheerleader too.
Next, we are moving on to McGlasson. None of you arbitrary humans can cuss like Neanderthals, and any one of them could drink 10 of you under that table. I really miss those guys.
I love, except for I don't think you know what arbitrary means. So take out arbitrary, and this sentence is fantastic.
Boom.
Exactly what I wrote. I don't think you know what arbitrary. I don't think arbitrary means what you think it means. Other than that, this is great. This is This is great to read. It's good stuff. That's my notes.
Another perfection.
Except for the garbage.
Except for arbitrary.
Yay, Scott.
Yay, Scott.
All right. Oh, wait, or we're clapping. Sorry. I'm like trying to scan the next one. T.S. Hall says, McGlasson, stop stealing my lines. And McGlasson says, I assure you, I know what arbitrary maybe
Means.
and it, whoa, where'd it go? And it does make sense. He's fighting for it.
You fight for it all you want. It doesn't make sense.
Maybe in context. I don't know.
I can't. There's no context that would make that make sense.
All right. Moving on to submission from Legion. Hopefully it's Legion. Wayne
Lyon.
You are the last boomer on Earth, Pat. And even after all this time, not a few people would like to see that number be 0.
Okay. Love this. Only change I would make is make that you are a your. Use the conjunction or use the
contraction.
Thank you. You contract that because it's you are the last boomer on Earth. You're the last boomer on Earth. Which is stronger?
Contraction.
Great.
Unless you have a really specific reason why that particular character just hates contractions.
No, because he uses a contraction farther down. And even after all this time, not a few people would like to see that. Maybe not, but still, I would still your.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're still going on about the arbitrary in the chat. I'm not going back there. We're moving on to Mars Syndicate. Author didn't put their name on the original submission, so this is slightly halfway anonymous. I screamed, but no one was listening.
And my notes say this is excellent. 6 words, no screw ups. It increases tension. Good job, whoever you are.
Yeah. If a character screams and no one hears him.
Did he really scream? No, I'm sorry. But
he says he did. He did scream.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now we have a submission from Ellen is the best, says David Jones. She is the best. She really is.
I love you, David.
All right. Now we have a submission from Partlow. The wave of sound and smell and color crashed over us. Overwhelming.
Okay. And my notes say, this is so evocative. Everyone's been in a place where they were overwhelmed by the madding crowd. And this description makes you part of the story. You feel like you're there with the waves of sight and sound crashing over you.
And smell.
And smell. Very evocative. Good job, Partlow.
Yay.
And thank you. By the way, I wouldn't change anything with that.
All these good sentences, Ben. All y'all.
You guys are kidding us.
Y'all doing great.
I'm proud of you.
All right, and I'm gonna take a quick. Oh, Ken, stop it, Ken. In space, no one can hear you when you're arbitrary. They're still going on about it. All right, I want to take a quick interlude. For Spotlight, not so much a spotlight as a self-imposed reminder. So I am one of the editors on the Moe's Volume 3 hard sci-fi anthology, and this one is all things asteroids and science. So if it's on an asteroid, asteroids hitting something, as long as asteroids are a predominant part of the story, it can be whatever you want it to be. But one thing that I have come across is a lot of people are scared of the hard sci-fi because they think like, oh, I don't know science. I can't write a hard science story. Well, you don't need to. Like as far as being knowing of the science. I got into hard sci-fi quite accidentally, and now I can't stop thinking about it. So my first one, I'm not a science person per se. So even those of you who don't normally think of the science can still submit and, learn some stuff. And I wanted to read really quickly this one part from the first one. That one was megastructures. As an example this is my personal example of how you can put science in something without it being sciencey. hopefully to lessen the fear some of y'all might have towards it. All right. So let's see where. Let's see. Occasionally, the darkness shimmered. She felt it all the way to her core. What poor life had crossed to the point of no return, frozen in time and simultaneously stretched, trapped in a violent collision, feeding the pit of forever. There is science in there. There is science of how a black hole operates and works when matter is being pulled into it. So just that easy, you can have real science in your story. Boom. Okay. Moving on. Alrighty. Oh, and send submissions to MOHS Anthologies at gmail.com.
Are there requirements as far as length?
At least the first 500 words of it, and within hopefully 4 days, we will get you back to you either a no or a yes. And even if it's a no, I still put in notes and comments on my thoughts of the overall thing. June 30th is the final day. So get it in by June 30th, midnight. I think it's EST.
Make sure you put your name on it.
Yes, definitely. Oh, and all submissions end up being anonymous. So Dan is awesomely taking all of the submissions, stripping all of the author names and things. So me and Bill have absolutely no idea who you are. You could be a 6-figure author. I won't know. I could give you a no. The only thing we're judging you on is the words that you submit. So make sure them words be good. All right. Moving on. Space Seasons. Another one where the author forgot to put their name on the original submission. The ship dove and my stomach lurched with it.
And this is good. I'm not crazy about the word lurched, but I wouldn't cut it necessarily. I might suggest an alternative if I thought of one. But yeah, the ship dove and my stomach lurched with it. I might change to went. This ship dove and my stomach went with it. But no, it's very clean. It's tight, and I liked it.
Yeah, your version's kind of comical. When the ship dove, my stomach went with it. We're lurched with it.
Did I write that?
So you said it. You said it a second ago. It's good.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. My notes and I don't have them. There. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
Alrighty. Ooh, we got another one from Slater. Battling an entrenched organization was worse than fighting a bear.
Knowing Slater, I like it, and as you can see, I do tend to favor short over long. Although I have liked some long stuff, I would change an entrenched organization to bureaucracy, because he's probably dealing with a military problem anyway. That's the only change I would make, but I like it. What my notes say, this needs one tiny tweak, and then I scratched out entrenched organization and replaced it with bureaucracy.
You could, battling bureaucracy was worse than fighting a bear.
It's true. I'm just gonna say that's a very true statement.
I might be getting carried away with all of that alliteration, though, in today's episode of The Writer's Journey.
Today's episode of The Writer's Journey.
Alliteration.
How long can you?
Right. Let's see. The Ninth Spiral from We Do Not Know Who. She stopped in the doorway, a black silhouette against hot sunshine.
Oh, I love that.
That's nice.
That's picture beautifully. Yeah, that's great. That's a beautiful, beautiful line.
And this also, I'm going to wrap back to most. This is science right here. There has been a few times where descriptions, it's bright light in the doorway, and then the other character can so distinctly pick out all of these fine details on the character in this bright doorway, and I'm like, they wouldn't be able to see them very well. They're backlit, and it's all gonna be shadowed, and so science. All right. We have another one from Anonymous. He stared, as if seeing something, like he heard a noise, then turned back to the task at hand.
Okay, this one I went crazy on, because what's going on here could be really, really exciting. It could be a pull, it could be a draw, it could be action. And it's just kind of not. So what I wrote for this, what I wrote is, the idea is sound, but the execution didn't live up to the promise. And what I wrote was, he froze. Okay, he froze. Had he seen something, heard something? Satisfied, he went back to his task. So, I mean, I really chopped that up.
Yeah, I like the short, choppy sentences there. Makes the reader like pay attention to each little moment.
And then you've taken out the as if, you've taken out the qualifiers, you've taken out the stuff that weighs your writing down. And it's actually, he froze. Have you seen something, heard something? You know?
Yeah, a lot of these, as if, the thens,
Like,
every now and then the likes. So many people get on them likes. It's like this, like that, as they like it gets
that
to be a lot.
try something else. Sorry. But
Alrighty.
I did, and that's what I would do if it was submitted to me. I would do something like that, most likely. First, ask me tomorrow, and maybe it'll be something different. But yeah, that's what I did to that one, because it could have been. It had the potential to be really good, and it had Potential's Brothers baggage with it. If you get my
Yeah, it's falling along. It's like he stared. Okay, what's he staring at? Like,
right.
I would rather hear about what he's staring at than the fact that he stared. Just as an example. All right, another one from Anonymous. Michael held court over the tight-knit group of his constant companions, having fulfilled his aspirations to achieve a drunken state, ready for the next leg up or down.
Yeah, the next leg up or down is really, really good. It's just clumsy. Again, this is clumsy. Potential, but overloaded and repetitious is what I wrote. So I struck of his constant companions. And that was it. It's still a long sentence, but it's a better sentence. Michael held court over the tight-knit group, having fulfilled his aspirations to achieve a drunken state, ready for the next leg up or down. And that still kind of needs a rewrite, but just taking out the of constant companions, the tight-knit group of constant companions is just so much this. You know?
Extra verbiage that you don't really need.
Right. Yes.
All right. And another from Anonymous. She took in a breath when he finally let her wait. I gotta start that one over. She took in a breath when he finally let go her mouth and nose, and immediately regretted it.
I like this. I do. But it's hard to read. It's because you have to go back. Wait, what? It's got that wait what into it, and you don't really want to do that. So
I find myself deleting these a lot.
Yeah.
Like when he finally just he let go. Okay, this is the moment we're in. I don't need to know that he finally did it when I've been reading through all this. Stop it.
Well, having
sometimes
actually edited this book, this sentence is a good fit, but I would drop an of. She took in a breath when he finally let go of her mouth and nose and immediately regret. It was a good part of the story, but if you drop in the article, then it's not as confusing.
Now, Ken says he regretted releasing her mouth and nose, and he brings up a good point. When I first heard that sentence, I wasn't sure who was regretting letting that her mouth and nose were finally open.
Oh, really?
I wasn't sure if she regretted taking a breath or if he regretted letting.
That's how I was
her.
understanding it. That she regretted breathing, like it hurt or something.
It smelled bad.
So I had to read that twice, and I think it's she regretted taking a breath.
You have to read it twice, and there's something wrong. And if everybody reads it twice, there's something wrong. There's something it's not doing its job. So whether we fix it or chop it, this was not maybe your best work.
You could start the sentence with when he finally let go of her mouth. She gasped. Yeah, and immediately regretted it.
Gasped was
but switching the sentence around would keep the subject and verb together instead of breaking it up.
Right. Okay.
All right. Looks like we got 2 more, and then we're going to go on to some howlers
We already did these.
that Ellen delicately prepared. All righty. From Anonymous.
Nope, we already did these.
We did?
We did.
No, yep. You're right.
Yep.
Close that.
I
Okay,
used
so I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second here.
So if you guys think we're not paying attention, we are. I have a whole file of this nonsense. Pages and pages.
No, don't stop, Cam. Stop it. Clicking all the wrong buttons. All right. Getting our...
Just read these
howlers.
ahead. That's cheating.
Okay. So...
Kalene?
Huh?
Just read these. Don't let them read ahead. That's cheating.
Okay. Stop sharing. I'm sorry. All right. First one. He finished licking his fingers clean by wiping them on his jeans.
Uh-huh. Right?
So his jeans are licking his fingers?
People think. Read your work. This is why you read your work back before you send it to the editor.
It's true. All right. This is some great tough love, says Ken Ward. It is. This is what we do. We love you and we love your words and we want those words to be the best they can be. And if that means making them bleed a little bit, we're getting some letting going in. All right. Next one. Fat and sticky tears rolled down her face like pineapple chunks as she greeted each of the family members.
Those are big tears.
That's a big old tear.
Chunky tears.
Pineapple. Okay, so I'm thinking of like the canned pineapple and those
Yeah.
chunks kind of like rolling down your
Chunks of
face.
pineapple are like huge, man.
Right.
Imagine. And they're yellow. Like all these yellow, chunky tears.
But I've had big sticky tears before, you know, when it gets really bad, you know, you're really upset. But maybe there's a different way of describing it.
Yeah, I agree. All right. His raised eyebrows confirmed he was up for the challenge.
I mean, what?
Sometimes, like if I really feel like I need to describe a facial expression, I do this while I'm writing. I will kind of like start to like act out sort of like what the character's face might be doing, what their body kind of might be doing, or on a very rare occasion, I have literally gone into my bathroom and kind of like acted it out and just like get visually what's happening, because his raised eyebrows confirmed. Like, can you imagine someone just be like, "I'm ready." Sorry. Okay. The steel glinted on the golden edge.
I mean, the editorial equivalent of the blooper reel. I pull these up on bad days and laugh at them. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so this next one has an inflection on the word, so I'm going to read it exactly as the inflection states.
Oh wait, is it where you could throw in a character's name instead of where I write character? If I did
Oh no,
that.
it doesn't. No, it's here. I'll read it and then you can tell me. Her knuckles gripped the table. Was I supposed to throw in a character? Or is
No.
it just...
When I wrote her or him or character or whatever, it was because I didn't want to identify people's characters. I didn't want to.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So then all these. Okay. Then I will reread that. Sarah's knuckles gripped the table.
Did they? Did they now? Did they? Did they really?
I mean, I guess, if she's like, oh, table, gripping it.
Her knuckles, gripped, arms, foot.
All right. And her pulse quickened as she watched Stephen's chiseled cheekbones puff like a chipmunk with too many acorns.
What? Wait. Can you read that again?
And her pulse quickened as she watched Stephen's chiseled cheekbones puff like a chipmunk with too many acorns.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a vivid picture.
Yeah. A lot of imagery going on there.
All right.
All right. This next one is absolute gold. It was sparsely crowded.
Wait, what?
It's either sparse or it's crowded. Can't
Yes.
be both. Pick one. All right. The transference is complete, Michael crooned, his deep voice echoing in Sarah's eyes.
What? Okay, so
The transference is complete, Michael crooned,
crooning
his deep
this.
voice echoing in Sarah's eyes.
He's crooning and echoing in her eyes.
Eyeballs. Because that's how sound works. Sorry.
That is not hard science, people.
No. All right. Oh. I need to be serious with my reading these. Okay. Prancing in her trendy cowboy boots, she stood and posed.
She's prancing, standing, and posing.
So simultaneously with this one, she was already standing, but now she was sitting, going back up to standing.
And prancing.
While prancing. I guess she's prancing in her seat. I don't know. Let's see. I'd only seen his face by the light of his sirens.
Yeah.
So this is a police officer, I guess, got out of his car and
By the light of the sirens, she fell in love.
the blue and red flashing off his face.
Sirens.
This was the moment.
But the siren's the horn.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
By
not
the
the
light of
lights.
his horns. All right. His chest was on fire, and so was his torso.
Oh no, that's not good. Someone put out the fire. We need those ambulances back. The sirens, come back, come back. You got someone on fire.
Alrighty, and to close out, no, there's two more. She raised her clear glasses off her face, revealing golden brown eyes. So y'all, right, you can see my eyes. She raised them, revealing, like they're already revealed, y'all. You can see.
It's the librarian moment, right? She takes off her spectacles and then instantly she's a model.
The librarian moment when she takes her hair down.
Model revealed. But it
Okay,
is
you have
true.
to take the hair down first. And
Yes,
then you whip them
Kalene,
off like
let's
that.
see
You
it.
have to right. Anyway. Off topic. Okay, I can't see anything. All right, here we go. Last one to close out the show. You kept the name here. Do you want me to make a different name?
Nah, go for it.
Okay. Michelle did the same, sucking the sweet mousse off the end of her spoon.
But it's the spelling there. That's the problem.
Oh,
It's
Moose.
spelled like
M-O-
moose moose.
she's a moose.
Sweet moose off her spoon.
But still, I mean, Michelle just sucking the sweet mousse
Off.
the end of her spoon. That paints a picture.
The reader's brain's going in so many directions. And we really need to keep them in the story, following the flow of the story, and not going
All
off
right,
on
but
their
I
own.
have to say, and her pulse quickened as she watched Michael's chiseled cheekbones puff like a chipmunk with too many acorns. That one's probably my top 3 of these. And the pineapple chunks. Fat and sticky tears rolled down her face like pineapple chunks
I got more.
as she greeted each of the family members. Alrighty, everyone in the chat, Tia's Hoddle, Bard of Today, Ken Ward, Leo Vaccaro, Ken Britz. I know there's more people that were in here. Scott McGlasson. Thank you, everyone, watching and listening and partaking of this hammering of one-liners. Sometimes one sentence can make or break that scene. It can make or break the moment. So make each and every moment count. And don't cry pineapple chunks. That would just be painful. All right. For Lauren Moore and Ellen the Cutter Campbell, I am Kalene Williams. Be sure to check us out next week where we're going to talk about more reading, writing, and everything in between right here on Keystroke Mediums, The Writer's Journey.